Hey there, Diane Conklin with CompleteMarketingSystems.com. Let's talk today about perception versus facts. I had an interesting conversation with a coaching client on a one-on-one the other day, and her perception was that she had done okay, but was disappointed in a particular promotion that she had done. She was looking at the dollars. I looked at it and said, I think you did really well, right? And so as I began to ask questions, what we found out was that her perception was very different than what the facts told us. And so I started asking questions like I typically do about, well, what do the numbers look like? What are your, how many did you send? How many people opened? How many people clicked? How many sales did you make? And when we started looking at the actual numbers as opposed to the dollars and her perception of what was real, what we found out was this was a hugely successful campaign that we now have put in place to run again in the next quarter, I believe, or at least next year. It was associated with a particular holiday. And so my point in telling you this is very simple. You hear me talk a lot about measuring, right? And that's only part of what we do. But so many times when you're struggling to make a decision in your business, what you find out is if you look at the numbers and see what they really say, not your perception, not what you think, not your interpolation, right? It's supposed to be interpretation, but that's a Diane word. Not your interpolation of what it was, but what the actual numbers say. And really look at it, many times your perception is very different than what the facts are, than what's real. And sometimes it works out the other way, right? You think you did really well, and in fact, when you look at the numbers, you may in fact be disappointed. But most of the time it works in reverse. Not always. But here's the key. I think so many people don't look at their numbers and don't measure for one simple reason. They're afraid. They're afraid of what it's going to look like, right? What if it tells me it was bad? What if it tells me this didn't work? What if it tells me, but wouldn't you rather know instead of burying your head in the sand, right? And so my point really is just to look and see. If you look and see what's there, it's always better than what happens in your head, right? And we have a tendency to get the spinnies with things. But if we know what's there and we have the facts, then many times in business, we would make a different decision, right? Either a different decision because things went really well, or a different decision because maybe we are a little disappointed, or maybe it didn't go as well as we wanted it to. But perception versus fact is really a big deal when it comes to business. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about May 3, 4, 5, and 6 at my virtual online event called Business in 2021 and Beyond. If you go to businessin2021andbeyond.com, all the information is there. It's supposed to be $197, but I tell you what, if you enter the code Diane, just my first name with a capital D, all the rest small, you can come for $97 instead of $197. Check it out. This is a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is how do you really build your business where we are today and beyond, and know that your business is going to be there. It's going to be strong no matter what happens in the economy or any place else. Again, check it out. Build your business in 2021 and beyond.com. I'm Diane Conklin with Complete Marketing Systems. Until next time, make it a great day.